Shalom Yasharallah, Shalom Shalom. Kol Halayim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the bishops and the elders of Great Millstone, and to the teachers, the students, the soldiers of Great Millstone, the prophets who push the truth worldwide to the four corners of the earth to seal up the elect of Israel, to the 144,000 men who are going to rule with Yahweh Shai when he returns, the ruling government, the body, the leaders of Israel, and to the men, women, and children that believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that are going to be saved by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai when the tribulation comes, the citizens of heaven. To you I say Shalom. Yo, did my clock go forward? Hold on. So it's, I don't think it did. So it's daylight savings time. I was driving, I was working, and I was like, yo, does the whole world agree to go back one hour and shit? I think they do. But anyways, got the heat on, yo. It's almost that time, bro, where you're gonna come walk to your car and there's gonna be fucking snow on it. I think I'm putting this car up when the winter comes, yo. This isn't a winter car. And I don't have winter. I'm not going to slap winter tires on this shit. And my last Challenger was sucked in, I never drove it. I've driven it in the snow before, and it sucked, bro. It had no grip. It was swaying and shit. So I always tried to avoid it. But my city's kind of good because when it snows, there'll be enough snow on the ground, and you'll go home, and by the time that you wake up tomorrow morning, the streets are clean, at least, yo. You know what I mean? There's not snow in the streets, so they're good at that. But anyways, what I want to talk about is Solomon, King Solomon. Okay, King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. So I did some research. So Sheba, the Queen of Sheba, basically was right now it's modern day Yemen. Okay, that's where she's from. I have her name written down there. I have a whole bunch of information I'm gonna bring out. So the whole thing is, so I'm reading about Solomon and how he lost the king. Well, he didn't lose the kingdom. Well, he did lose the kingdom, and his son officially lost it. You know what I mean? But it was set up like that. And I was reading, I can't remember the chapter about him and Queen of Sheba and when she came and what she did. So a lot of people, even when you Google it, they say that the Queen of Sheba, on her last day before she left the ends, that her and King Solomon had sex. And then she got pregnant and had a son. And this son grew up to be the first emperor of Ethiopia. Okay? And Google says that Solomon knew that was his son. He looked like Solomon. And when the youth was in his 20s, he met his father for the first time. And his father wanted him to stay in Israel and rule after him. And they say that this was his first son, and that the son refused. He didn't want to stay in Israel. So Solomon sent him back to Ethiopia with men from Israel, and he gave his son the Ark of the Covenant. And people will say that the Ark of the Covenant is in this shrine in Ethiopia to this day, bro. Bam. Now, with that said, none of that's in the Bible. Just to say, there's a lot of things that aren't in the Bible. Like, for example, when you read Kings, right? The first and second Kings, when this stuff's happening, and it goes, isn't this written in the chronicles of the kings of Judah and the kings of Israel and stuff? There's a lot of things that we don't know and there's a lot of things that we haven't read. None of that has anything to do with salvation. Everything that's in the Bible is what we need for salvation and to come back to the Lord and all of that. I'm not done. I got some information for you. I'm gonna keep my car on because it's cold and shit when I park up. Will I? My car's kind of noisy, yo. So yeah, with that said, it's like, bro. So, okay. So with that said, so the Rastas, like your Rastafari and the fucking Dread Youths and them, worship fucking Haile Selassie, see? And they say that he's a descendant of Solomon and whatever. Niggas call cap on that. Bro, I'm gonna get this information out to you guys right now. Now, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, it's not fully impossible to say that King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba didn't have sex, because you already know King Solomon was a gallus. We already know that she was smitten with him when she saw how fucking wise he was and all the shit that he had. Hold on. Salakia. That shit's noisy. I'm gonna turn my car off. Got the car all toasty and shit. I'm not saying that it's impossible that King Solomon did not have sex with the Queen of Sheba. It's not written. It doesn't say that they did. So who's saying that they did? Like, where did this information come from? And it says that Solomon tricked her into his bed the last day. Why would he have to trick her? And if he did have sex with her, knowing that King Solomon was a righteous man of the Lord at these times, wouldn't that make her his wife? So why would he let her go when he could say, yo, you're my wife now, and I'm going to rule your kingdom too, as your king, as the king of whatever. You know what I mean? Wouldn't it work like that? And it doesn't tell you that, I never dug deep into the history of the Queen of Sheba and how she became queen. I didn't try to search up that information. Maybe it is out there, but I don't know how she became queen of her country or whatever. And how the fuck does the Queen of Yemen or whatever son become the emperor of Ethiopia? I didn't look at the map to see where Yemen and Ethiopia are, like if they're close to each other or whatever. I should have done that. I'm only now thinking at that point, actually. But anyways, I have some information and I'm going to share my thoughts with it. Bro, the Bible talks about fables, see? And this could just be a fable. You can't believe what Esau has to say. This is basically Esau telling you that fucking this man who this woman's first son or whatever is Solomon's son. And the stories contradict each other, because the Ark of the Covenant, the last time anyone saw the Ark of the Covenant, according to history or whatever, is when the Babylonians sacked Israel or Jerusalem in like 500 and something BC. So how the fuck can that go from that to no, it's all good in Ethiopia? And why the hell would Solomon take the Ark of the Covenant that's already established in the temple that he built for the Lord and give it to his so-called son to take to Ethiopia? That makes no fucking sense, bro. So, yo, I got some information, bro, and I'm going to read it. And then I got some scriptures, and then we're going to call it a day. Because, it was just an interesting topic that I thought of, and I'm like, yo, let me just bring this out, yo, and see what I go on, okay? Okay, bear with me. Okay, Solomon and Sheba. Seen? Sheba's son, we're calling her Sheba. She has a name, but we're going to get to her name. So we're just saying Queen of Sheba. We're calling her Sheba. Sheba's son was named Menelik the first, okay? Google says his father was Solomon. Makeda was her name. So the Queen of Sheba's name was Makeda. So Makeda is the name of the Queen of Sheba. Seen? Okay. According to the medieval Ethiopian books of Kabra, Negust, so I always hear about this book, the Negust or whatever. Written in Ge'ez in 1321 CE, his name was Baina Lakiam in Arabic. El-Hakim, son of the wise. He was convinced when his father Solomon tricked his visiting. He was convinced. Oh, no, sorry. Not convinced. Hold on, man. All right, yo. It's all good. He was conceived when his father Solomon tricked his visiting mother, the Queen of Sheba, into sleeping with him. His mother raised him as Jewish. There's no such thing as Jewish. So I guess raised him as an Israelite. How could a woman raise you as an Israelite? And she's not an Israelite. I guess what? She told him that her God was Yahweh. His God was Yahweh. So how come? We'll continue, man. His mother raised him. I'm just reading verbatim. His mother raised him as Jewish in her homeland. And he only traveled to Jerusalem to meet his father for the first time when he was in his 20s. While his father begged Menelik to stay and rule over Israel, Menelik told him that he wanted to return home. Thus Solomon sent many Israelites with him to aid him in ruling according to biblical standards, which were aggravated at being exiled forever. So basically he sent Israelites on a mission to go live in Ethiopia, I guess. So these Israelites were exiled. Why would Israelites want to leave Israel, you know what I mean, to go live in Ethiopia? And they had no choice because their king gave them a command or whatever, is basically what it's saying. One recount is that King Solomon gave the Ark of the Covenant to his son. That I call cap on that. While another states that Menelik and his Israelite companions took the ark with them, and Solomon attempted to regain the ark but was unable to due to its supernatural properties, aiding Menelik upon death of his mother or upon her abdication in his favor. Menelik was crowned king of Ethiopia. All right. In that story, the only thing that is not impossible, but not for me, is the Ark of the... Why would Solomon give the Ark of the Covenant to a man that he only met when he was 20, saying that he's his son, and take the Ark of the Covenant out of the temple so that it could leave Israel, bro? Are you nuts? I don't believe that for shit. Now, is it possible that this man is Solomon's son? It's possible. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying it's possible. King Solomon had 1,000 wives. I don't believe that this man was his first son because he had beer wives. Remember, when you read Kings, he built Pharaoh's daughter a palace or whatever. No, the palace that he lived in, he built up her ends. I mean, like her, like she shared it with him. Why wouldn't she have his first ute? He probably had beer utes, bro. So what made this ute so special? Why wouldn't he want any other of his sons were just as special as this ute? Just because that she was the so-called Queen of Sheba's son or whatever. But whatever. Continuing on, y'all. We'll see what I go on with the story. So I'm just laying it down for you, showing you what Google said about Solomon and Sheba. See? It's getting cold in here. According to the legends, Menelik the First founded the Solomonic dynasty of Ethiopia that ruled Ethiopia with few interruptions for close to 3,000 years. This ended 225 generations later with the deposition of Emperor Haile Selassie in 1974. Historical records show that the Solomonic dynasty was restored based on the traditional narratives in 1262 AD, when Yekuno Amlak, who claimed descendants from biblical Solomon and Sheba, overthrew the last ruler of the Zagwe dynasty, dismissing them as not the house of Israel, i.e. of Solomon, and reestablished the Solomonic dynasty in 1270 AD. And then it refers to Acts 8 and 26. I don't know what Acts 8 and 26 says. Depicts the first century account of the eunuch of Candace, queen of Ethiopians, on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, encountering Saint Philip of Samaria. So that's some information that Google says. And it mentioned Haile Selassie. So they're basically saying that Haile Selassie is a descendant of Solomon, which is what Rastas believe. And that's why Rastas worship this guy, because they think that he's like the second coming of Yahweh Shai, basically. And I remember growing up hearing stories that Haile Selassie has stigmata marks like on his hands and his feet to make it look like he's, you know what I mean, like he was crucified or whatever. Fables. Where's the pictures? Not saying that there's not Israelites in Ethiopia. There's Israelites everywhere. But I just don't believe personally. But even if all of this was true, let's say Haile Selassie was a descendant of Solomon, doesn't mean that he's Yahweh Shai. And none of this has anything to do with our salvation. I'm just bringing it out because, you know, it's edifying and it's interesting, and I want the information out in Israel so that, you know, a man can, because I've heard this topic come up before, and, you know, the Men of Great Millstone dismiss it. Like I remember Elder Manata Zakba spoke about this before, and also Elder Rakarakwam in London spoke about this before. You know what I mean? And they don't give it any light. But I don't think this information, not to say that this information is hidden, but I just never heard anyone bring this stuff out like so in detail or whatever. So that's why I'm bringing it out. I'm not saying I believe this shit. I'm just saying it's out there, and I'm saying it's not impossible that this man is Solomon's son, and clearly he existed, and they say he's the first emperor of Ethiopia or whatever. Continuing on. According to Ethiopian traditions, the Ark of the Covenant was brought to Ethiopia by firstborn sons of the Israelites who accompanied Menelik on his return to Jerusalem. The Ark is believed to be held at Exum and no one is allowed to enter the shrine it is held in except for one monk who is assigned to look after it for life and is not allowed to leave the courtyard of the church. During the persecution of Gudit in the 10th century and the Ethiopian Adal War in the 16th century, the Ark was moved south to Lake Zaway and later brought back to Exum. The Kabra Negis is the 14th century text about the Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia. Bro, didn't Muhammad make his whole religion based off of how Israelites were moving? So who's to say that these Ethiopians didn't want to copy how Israel was moving and say, oh, you know what I mean? And how easy is it to say, you can't believe any bitch, and Queen of Sheba is just a bitch. There's nothing special about her. Who's to say that she couldn't get pregnant and turn around and say, oh, yo, who's the baby father? Oh, Solomon's the baby father. Or maybe this is all made up. You know what I mean? Solomon isn't here to defend himself, but once again, the story does not sound crazy, except for the part that the Ark of the Covenant is in fucking Ethiopia. I don't fucking believe that shit. Here it is now. 586 BC. Jewish traditions maintain that the Ark of the Covenant disappeared during the Babylonian sack of Jerusalem in 586 BC. So if that gone, how the hell can it be in fucking Ethiopia? And if a man knows what the Ark of the Covenant looks like, somebody could easily bootleg it. Why can't? I'm pretty sure a man at some point made a replica of the fucking Ark of the Covenant. You know what I mean? Archaeologists believe that there is no reliable record of the Ark's whereabouts after this date. Despite this, many theories and claims exist about the Ark's subsequent location. I personally think only heaven knows where the Ark of the Covenant is. It's not in fucking Ethiopia. The Lord knows where it is. Maybe it's in the spirit world. I don't know. But it did get sacked, right? And no one's seen it. If the Babylonians sacked it, why wouldn't they put it on display somewhere and say, oh, look what we have? You know what I mean? Remember when in 1 Samuel when the Israelites were fighting, what people were that? Was it the Philistines? And so some people that were beefing with the Israelites took the Ark of the Covenant and they had it for a minute, you know what I mean? And then the Lord plagued them with like, what's that shit called? Yo? Hemorrhoids, basically. And then they're like, yo, fam, we're not, you know what I mean? And then they returned the Ark of the Covenant or whatever. I have to read that again. But continuing on. The Ark of the Covenant was lost after the Jerusalem temple was destroyed in 586 BC. Some claim that it was stolen, while others claim that it's on Mount Nebo, from where Moses saw the promised land. Most popularly, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church claim that they have it in their church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. So how come no one can see it? Is the Ark of the Covenant really in Ethiopia? So these are questions that were on Google. According to the Ethiopian tradition, the Ark of the Covenant is preserved in an ancient holy city of Axum. You think if the Ark of the Covenant existed You don't think Esau would have stole that shit and have it in like the Vatican somewhere in underground? Or you don't think that the fucking rats in freaking Jerusalem right now would say, "Oh, look, we have the Ark of the Covenant, yo, it's here. We're the real people." Like lies, fam. I don't believe it. That's cap. For centuries, the great relic was kept in the Church of Mary of Zion, where the Emperor Yesu is recorded as having seen it and spoken to it in 1691. Cap. A son was born. Solomon's firstborn son was named Melanick. I don't believe that. So the queen, so this nigga, so King Solomon was balling, had zero children until Queen of Sheba showed up, and then he had to trick her into bed and breed her, and then she breed, and that's his first ever son. Fucking, I don't believe that either. And when he was a man, the queen sent him to Solomon, but Solomon did not need the ring. Did not need the ring. The youth resembled the king in every way. Solomon tried to pursue Menelik to persuade Menelik to remain and reign in Israel, but Menelik would not. Why would he not want to rule in Israel after his father? Did Solomon sleep with Queen of Sheba? Whoops. Legends about King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. In Islamic tradition, who cares about Islamic tradition? Islamic tradition is a bunch of fucking lies. The fucking Quran is toilet paper, and fucking all their whole religion's made up. In Islamic tradition, the queen is named Bilquis. In Ethiopia tradition, she is called Makeda. And on the last night of her stay, she was tricked into bed with Solomon. Bro, in the Bible, it shows you that this bitch was fucking infatuated with Solomon in every way. It says Solomon was handsome bad, right? 1. 2, this nigga was rich beyond your fucking imagination. This nigga had tons and tons of gold. Everything was gold in his fucking country. Israel had so much gold that silver was worthless, basically, in his fucking kingdom. There was nothing silver around Solomon. Everything was gold. But it did say that there was so much silver that all of Israel had silver on deck. But nothing around Solomon was silver. It was all gold. So the Queen of Sheba came, seen all of this. We all know women today in 2024, and there's nothing new under the sun. They love ballers. And she had to be tricked into sleeping with Solomon, dog? Nigga. And on the last night of her stay, she was tricked into bed by Solomon and became pregnant. Okay. In closing, only Islam pushes the notion that this guy is Solomon's son. Only Muslims and Islam push that this nigga is his son. That tells you everything right there, bro. Islam is a bunch of fables. Islam is a This is what I wrote. These are my notes, okay? Book this. So those are all the notes. So this is my notes, okay? In closing, only Islam pushes the notion that this guy is Solomon's son. Islam is a fake religion that made up a whole fake book, so anything coming out of that can be super cap. And it's true. So yeah. Scriptures. This is 1 Timothy 1, 3, and 4. As I besought thee to abide still at Ephesus, when I went into Macedonia, that thou mightest charge some that they teach no other doctrine. There's only one doctrine, bro. And this nigga being Solomon's son is not part of our doctrine. Queen of Sheba having Solomon's son isn't written in the Bible. Why wouldn't they include that? If Solomon gave this man the Ark of the Covenant, why wouldn't that be written in the scriptures? Neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies which minister questions rather than godly of edifying, which is in faith so do. That says it all, bro. That is an endless genealogy of Solomon's son, who's an Israelite, ruling Ethiopians in Ethiopia. Not saying it's impossible, but once again, it has nothing to do with the doctrine. To repent, we've waken up, we know who we are, and to follow Yahushai so that the Lord can have mercy on you. Has nothing to do with Queen of Sheba and her son. 1 Timothy 4, 6 and 7. If thou put the brethren in remembrance of these things, thou shalt be a good minister to Yahushua HaMashiach, nourished up in the words of faith and of good doctrine, whereunto thou hast attained, but refuse profane and old wives' fables, and exercise thyself rather unto godliness. There's probably some fable that some nigga made up somewhere, bro. Some Islam asshole. 2 Timothy 4, 3 and 4. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, as in those fucking Rasta men that bow down to King Emperor Haile Selassie, fucking Jah Rastafari. No, nigga. But after their own lusts shall they heap unto themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, which is what we're on, bro, and shall turn onto fables, bro. Bun out Rastafari, bun out friggin' King Selassie and all them niggas. If they're Israelites, it'll be proven. They have nothing to do with Yahushai and what's going on, bro. With the truth. Great millstone are the prophets. All right, y'all. Last scripture. It's getting cold in this car. Titus 1, 13 to 14. This witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth. In closing, part of me can believe that King Solomon is so gallus that he had sex with the Queen of Sheba and she got pregnant, and her son is Solomon's son. I don't believe that it was his first son. I can't remember the name of the son that replaced, is it Jeroboam or Rehoboam? One of those mans that replaced him and got the kingdom taken away from him. Basically, I'm going to go into that in my next lesson, actually. I don't believe that King Solomon said, yo, come and rule Israel after me. And he said no. And then said, oh, okay, you don't want to rule Israel? Let me give you the Ark of the Covenant so you can take it out of Israel and bring it to your lands. And then I'm going to get these niggas to go with you and you could rule. You know what I mean? That doesn't sound realistic or real, bro. And that contradicts the whole Babylon taking over Israel and sacking them in what was it 586 BC or whatever. Those two stories contradict themselves. I don't believe anything that Islam has to say about anything. And Ethiopians aren't Israelites. So that means what? A whole line of Israelites that come from Solomon were the true rulers of Ethiopia this whole time. I don't know, man. And the Queen of Sheba is just a bitch. She lies just like anybody else. She's probably a fucking slew just like anybody else and had sex with whoever she wanted because she's a fucking queen. Who's to say that King Solomon got her pregnant out of nowhere? So what? She wasn't fucking before? Whatever. We'll find out everything when we need to find out. That's all. That's what I wanted to bring out. And if you know, King Solomon, Yahushua was King Solomon. So, yeah, man. And why wouldn't Queen of Sheba want to hitch her wagon? Why would the Queen of Sheba leave? If the Queen of Sheba got pregnant by King Solomon, she hit the fucking jackpot. Why the hell would she now run back to her country, raise a child by herself, and then when he's 20 say, oh, yo, go meet your father? She would have hitched her whole shit to King Solomon, bro, and be like, guess what, nigga? You the daddy and want to become probably Queen of Israel or whatever. And she would have been set up her son. And I still don't understand how, if she's the queen of Yemen, how the fuck did her son become the king of Ethiopia? When I get upstairs, I'm going to go look at a map and see where Ethiopia and Yemen are. Dog, can I do it on this? I'm not going to even bother. I'll do it later. Anyways, Israel. Don't take heed to fables, bro. If it's not written in the Bible, it doesn't matter. And like, just like the book of Jasher and the book of Enoch and the book of fucking whatever, those are all fables. So, you know what I mean? The Bible, the Apocrypha. That's it. If it's not in there, it doesn't matter. The truth is in the book. And we have it. It's our book and we believe in it. And that's what's guiding us. That's what keeps us close to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And the laws are in the Bible. And, the truth is in the Bible. And only the elect understand it and believe. With faith and by the grace of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, by the Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? He opened up our mind. I heard Elder Apostle Gabar talking about, we understand this because Yahushai personally opened our minds to believe what's coming out of this book and to believe the words that the Holy Spirit puts in the mouths of the prophets, which are the great millstone, and the affiliates who believe in the same doctrine, that teach the same doctrine, you know what I mean? And when it hits our ears, bro, we know that it's the truth, man. So we're not confused when man's like Bishop Nathaniel want to tell you something that's not true, or any other friggin' Israelite fucking group that's talking shit, that doesn't believe that the RFID chip is the friggin' MOTB, or that, whatever other crazy doctrines that niggas want to fucking push out there. We know the bullshit and we know the truth. And you know what I mean? It's just our spirits, bro. And like, that's why call Halaim La Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. we are the hopeful elect, bro. Like, we actually have a chance to be those men, bro, and the women and children, and even the 144,000, bro. Like, yo, the hopeful elect are the ones, man. Y'all the twos, and we the ones. So, Tawadi Habashim Yahushai for the gift of hope. We're prisoners of hope, right? We're prisoners of hope, man. 40 minutes. So with that said, Israel, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the power of heaven, the power of Israel, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kwadash, the Wada Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, our King and Savior. Salute. We love you, and we are followers, bro. And we believe. The apostles, the bishops, the elders, the brothers, the soldiers of Great Millstone, and the like men who push the truth, that cannot stop pushing the truth all day long, all night long. My phone is buzzing with beer videos being dropped. Non-stop, fam. See? And the men, women, and children that believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in all righteousness, truth, and sincerity, who are praying to get out of here and are going to be immortals and rule the world. Okay? So with that said, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom. Hold it down, Israel.